everybody. Welcome back to the King of the Bean. I'm Ian, your host from last week. This is Josh, and this is Ryan.
We were not the host from last week.
Nope. I haven't been the host ever, really.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back. And for those of you who haven't watched, I'll give you a brief rundown. So, how this podcast works is that each week there is a random host, one of the three of us, and they will choose the topic for this week.
One of the three of us, most likely not Ryan.
So we have this little gumball machine that we fill with jelly beans. We will dispense some beans. Whoever chooses a color that has the most beans will be the host for the week. So on topic of that, choose a color.
I'll choose. Is there white in there?
No.
Oh, okay, then I'll go yellow. Yellow looks prominent. Go green.
Green.
Yeah. That is loud.
I
That's
choose
loud, dude. Be careful.
red.
Okay. Red.
Oh, you're really getting a lot there, huh?
Yeah. You gotta get a good number.
You need big sample size.
Alright, what do we got?
I have 3 purple.
Okay.
I was gonna say purple too, and then I listened to you.
Yeah.
1 red.
Okay.
And 3 yellow.
Then
That was Josh.
Did I say red?
You said yellow.
Okay. Hi.
Josh is the king.
Yeah, it happens. Alright, so I am King of the Bean this time around. So for this week, I feel like we should go down memory lane and talk about something that we all love as a kids and even to adulthood right now. Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Let's do it.
We do love Pokemon, don't we?
We do.
Weird.
It is the one thing that it really does bond us all together.
That's actually
Well,
kind
none of us wore a Pokemon shirt or anything today.
No,
No.
I got Cowboy Bebop. That's close.
I
right?
have Batman. It has words in it.
I have red for Trainer Red.
Yeah, there you go. I'm yellow from Pokemon Yellow.
I have red,
Hey,
yellow,
Pokemon
green.
Black.
Oh, black.
There
That's
is
true.
black. Yeah.
Black, white, yellow, red, green.
Yeah.
There's not a
Purple.
purple yet.
Sure.
Violet.
Violet.
What did I
Okay.
say?
Violet.
I am the amalgamation of the history of Pokemon.
The power.
The power within.
I have black and white.
Yeah. Anyways,
Right.
so do you guys remember like the first time you ever like saw Pokemon and became, consumed by it?
Yeah, it was actually we were. My earliest memory is we were like maybe 4 or 5 or something like that, and we were at our cousin's house, and he had a Game Boy Color and had Pokemon Yellow version,
Classics.
and that was and watching him play that, and then eventually when we got a Game Boy, he gave us Yellow
See, I don't
version.
remember watching him play, but I do remember him giving it to me.
Yeah.
And we had also recently started watching the anime and stuff because that was on like Cartoon Network and
Kids
stuff all the
WB,
time.
I think it
Kids
was.
WB. And I loved Pikachu. I've always loved Pikachu.
It's true.
He is a Pikachu.
There's a whole like shrine of Pikachu. That
Every year for Christmas, I get him a new Pikachu stuffed animal.
And birthday.
they look
And
really.
birthdays.
They look nice though.
Yeah.
I have a collection.
He has a whole
Yeah.
Pikachu menagerie.
And then I bought the giant Pikachu at Target, or you did.
Yeah, about that.
You did.
Yeah, I was like, I'll buy it for you.
So yeah, I have a
I
wall
did.
of Pikachu, or a shelf of Pikachu above my shelf of Kirby.
Below his shelf of other Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have miscellaneous because I started buying a lot.
It's a problem.
But anyway, I was gonna say I just remember Kyle giving us Pokemon Yellow,
Yeah.
but it was after he beat the game, so there was nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But he did have like this level 100 Butterfree and something else.
What is it with Butterfree being level 101?
I don't know.
Because my brother also had a level 100 Butterfree for whatever.
But
But-
then we learned you could start over.
From
Yeah,
the
so
beginning.
I started over because I wanted Pikachu. I was like, screw all your hard work. I want a Pikachu.
I want it now.
Daddy. And
Daddy!
Very rude.
and because
assault of you.
Pikachu gets to follow you.
That was
It
the
does.
coolest thing
So
about Yellow
I was
version.
like,
was.
delete all the data. I want a Pikachu.
Did you also think that if you got like the other starters, they would follow you?
No.
I used to think that, and like, why isn't it working? Did I break
Well,
it?
that was the weird thing about playing Yellow version as your first game, because you get Pikachu as your starter, and it follows you around, and then you can get Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle all within the game if you know which trainers to talk to.
Yeah.
And then I remember when we were in like 3rd grade or something, there was this kid who used to bully me, and then eventually he stopped, but he gave me his blue version and some Pokemon cards.
Was that like a gift for stop bullying you?
I don't know. He just came up to me one day and was like, "Hey, you want this?" I'm like, "All right." So he gave me his blue version, which comes out, for those of you who don't know, blue version. Okay, so here's the early chronology. Red and green version came out in Japan first.
I know, I used to have the poster up there. That's why I went to look for it.
Red and green came out first, and then when they came to America, like a few months later or a year later, it was red and blue version. So I don't know why they changed from green to blue, but they're all the same game. They're the original Pokemon games. And you pick one of the starters, Charmander, Squirtle, or Bulbasaur. But they don't follow you. That wasn't a feature. And so it was weird going from Yellow version, which is like, because Pokemon does this thing, for those of you who don't know, where they have like the base generation game, like the first generation, the red, blue, green, and then they usually do like a half step. They haven't done that in the last few generations, but they'll usually do like a half step game that's the same game but with new features.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for the first
like
generation,
animations too.
Yeah, so for the first generation, it was red, blue, and green were the first Pokemon games, and then you had Yellow version, which was like the half-step version, which was mostly the same game, but again, you get a Pikachu that follows you around that you can like talk to. You can get all the other starters. It had colored graphics. In a way, it was still like line graphics, really. They weren't full sprites, but they were in color, whereas the cool thing about red and blue, though, is like it had its base kind of color palette, but when you turn on the Game Boy on the screen that said Game Boy Advance, or Game Boy, Game Boy Color, because it was Game Boy Color, if you press the directional pad on the Game Boy, you could change the color palettes of the game. It was actually really cool. Yeah, you could.
I just knew that because, like, in the very first game, like, each town you go into, it would go to that specific color.
Yeah, well, that was it. That's what they did in Yellow version, because it was more colorized. That's what they did in Yellow version.
I forget the towns, but they're all named colors, and each time you go to their specific town, they would change the
I remember that, because that was in Yellow version, because each town was different, but in the original games, it was more of a, not a monochromatic colors palette, but it was more of like a universally similar.
Are all the cities colors?
In the first one,
Viridian,
because it's
pewter, cerulean,
a palette of colors.
Saffron,
vermilion,
fuchsia,
cinnabar.
Is that a color?
Sure. I'll look it up. You guys talk. I'll look it up.
But so in the original games, you could change the color palettes to be like more yellow purple, more green red, more like blue and darker blue, and it was really cool. But so Pokemon games do that half step, so it was weird starting at the half step and then going back a little bit.
It is a color.
It's a spicy red orange.
Yeah.
Spicy.
That's where the fire gel was. So that makes sense. But it was really cool, that started for me. And then we would watch the TV show, but it was the games that I loved so much.
Yeah, so good. Well, it was. So Pokemon Yellow was like your first
Pokemon
game.
Yellow.
Yeah, for me, I started off with Pokemon Gold.
I thought you were gonna say Go.
I remember we actually got that. Our aunt got us Gold and Silver for our birthday, and I remember getting it and being like, "There's more Pokemon.
There's more."
It was so cool.
It is great.
I don't know how she would always get us Pokemon games. I don't know how she knew we liked Pokemon. Maybe Mom and Dad told us, but because she got us Ruby and Sapphire too. I remember.
But yeah, and then I remember because another Christmas we got Crystal.
Yeah, Crystal was one of my favorite games. Great. It was the first one where you could play as a girl, which was super cool, and she was blue. It was awesome. It was the first one that had like animated sprites for the Pokemon.
I always just played the boy.
The girl was cool. She was blue. Yeah. Her name was Crystal.
I would always play girl characters.
But the boy is Ash.
No, the boy is not Ash. The boy is Gold.
I'm Ash. I'm the main hero of my story.
Ash is only in the TV show.
But yeah.
You can be who I want.
But yeah, I remember playing Pokemon Gold, and it's funny too because we didn't have Pokemon Gold and Silver. It was literally just Gold, and me and my brother would play the game.
Mm-hmm.
So we shared the same game.
We did share the same game.
We shared Yellow version.
Yeah, so there'd be moments.
And then Mom learned that was a bad idea.
So there'd be moments where like we're playing the game, and then he would stop, and then I continue playing the game, and then I'd like see his Pokemon. I was like, okay, let me switch this around, and then I just have a different team, and we just like have 2 separate games playing at the same time.
That is pretty much how it was.
But like you would beat the gym, and then he'd be like, "Oh, I guess I go to the next."
Yeah. And you're whatever years old, and you don't really care. You just like battling stuff because that's
You just keep going.
Those games are so much.
And that's when you only teach your Pokemon battle moves. Because,
earthquake,
like,
all the things.
attack moves because.
Stat moves are for losers.
Yeah. Why would you waste a turn not damaging your
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what the best way to stop an enemy is to kill it.
Yeah, the best form of CC is death.
Exactly.
That's the Warframe theory these days. That's the meta in Warframe. That's not what we're talking about, but that is.
I mean, that was always the meta in Perfect World. It's like,
yeah.
I don't have to worry about control, like,
The best
stunning you.
controlled crowd is a dead crowd.
Yeah, because, side tangent, Bree would play Psychic, which didn't have, like, a ton of crowd control. And she's like, and I'd be like, stun him, and she's like, my only form of stun is death. Like, I'm working on it.
That is the Warframe meta. That's, yeah.
Shout out to you, Bree.
So what would you
Shout
guys
out to
say is your favorite, like, Pokemon game of all time?
I would probably say Heart Gold.
Heart
The
Gold's
remake
good.
of Gold and Silver.
Where
for
your
the
Pokemon
DS.
can actually follow you.
Because it was the first time where your Pokemon followed behind you, and it would actually follow right behind you, and it didn't matter which one it was. It wasn't just Pikachu. It wasn't in these weird little areas like
Just Pikachu.
Diamond and Pearl had like that little square you can go into where if you had a Q Pokemon, which was like a baby Pokemon,
Yeah,
then
they
it
can
would
walk
follow. But it was
around.
only specific ones in this specific area. No matter where you went, you're the first Pokemon in your party followed around behind you, and that was the coolest thing in the world. I also love Gold and Silver, like just those games in general, and I like the region, and it's super fun.
It had the most banger of Pokemon intros.
It did.
Pokemon Johto.
Yeah. It was the most banger of all. Well, obviously, you can't beat the first season.
You can't beat the first
because
one.
that's just that's
iconic.
childhood and iconic.
But to follow it up with,
And also be a banger.
Yeah. So Hard Gold, I would have to say, is probably my favorite. I love that game. I love that region.
I'm gonna
Pokemon
go
follows behind you.
Dialga
Dialga.
Diamond.
Pokemon
Pokemon
Dialga?
Diamond.
Okay.
Pokemon
Diamond
Diamond.
and Pearl are really
Because
good.
I mean, I love the Sinnoh region. The first 4 are superior to the next
The first four
The fourth
is
one
just
knew what they
banger
were
after
doing.
banger
Yeah.
after. Like you can't go wrong in the first.
They knew what they're doing. They get to the 4th one and they made it into a competitive game for people who wanted to play it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
but also like Dialga was one of my first like favorite legendary. Like I love Lugia, I love Groudon. You could tell which games I played. But
Kyogre, Palkia.
but Dialga was just so cool. It's like a giant space dragon, which I love space.
It is a space.
And it's a
No,
giant.
it's the Time Dragon.
It is.
Palkia space.
Oh yeah,
dragon.
true.
All you knew was a lie.
That really didn't work out, did it?
Yeah.
Giant. Well, because Palkia looks ugly to me.
I don't like that.
Its
head.
head's really stupid.
Did you ever guys see the did you ever
Did you if you could would you have
but there was there's people making like notes of like how Palkia's sprite whenever you're like fighting with it just looks like a penis.
It does.
It does.
Dude.
It's
I
just
remember playing. This Pokemon's kind of cool.
It's very phallic.
Because Water and Dragon is just a cool type.
It's a cool, and so was Dragon and
Dragon
Steel.
and Steel is a cool type.
Like-
You know what I liked about the starters in the 4th generation games?
You
Is
got
I love their typing. Because the grass one becomes grass and ground.
Because we stopped doing fire and fighting.
No, we didn't. That was the second one.
Oh yeah, because it's Infernape.
Yeah, but it was cool. It was a cool, Sun Wukong monkey thing, which is awesome. And then you had Torterra, which is grass and ground, which I think is still to this day the only grass and ground type.
Is it? Fact check it. Go on.
Fact check it. But that's a cool typing.
It is.
And then Empoleon was water and steel. And the cool thing is like they all. It kind of messes with the type table because usually Pokemon's all based on type advantages, and water is good on fire, fire is good on grass. Grass is good on water, and so it's this whole triangle thing where if you pick a starter, you're going to be at advantage, disadvantage to other ones. But with the secondary typings of these ones, ground is good against steel, so it like doubles down on that, and then fighting is good on steel. So, like, Infernape, even though water is good against fire, fighting is good against steel, so it can still compete with it. Yeah. Ground's still good against fire, so it can still compete with that, even though fire...
It became one of those situations where there's, like, two gunmen, like...
Yeah, it was a Mexican standoff.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool because it skewed up the type. It wasn't like, oh, if you pick the water one, you're gonna be weak against grass. It's like, no, there are things you can do about it now. So, to me, it made the game, like, more... Like, not complex, but more interesting.
Empyrean's also the only water steel.
Yeah.
Is he actually?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But, but I think that's pretty cool that there's, like, still, like, 17 Pokemon that are super unique combination.
I wish they would do more of that.
I want them to fill out that whole chart.
I wish they would do more fun combinations of Pokemon.
I wish they did fire grass better.
I was really excited for a fire grass, and a weird little jalapeno head thing was not it.
Cause like
someone did like a whole thing with like poison ice, because I don't think that's been done either. And it's just like a little glass vial that's made of ice. That's cool. Holding poison.
Yeah.
So I think that's a neat concept.
I think that's.
I hope it evolves into a llama. Do you understand?
I get it. Summer's new groove, but like that's a Digimon evolution. That's not a Pokemon evolution.
But
something absolutely incoherent to the previous form.
But because I think they've done really cool things like.
Because somehow they always get a gun.
They always have a gun.
Yeah. That's the final evolution. The llama gets a battle armor and a gun.
Yeah. Put a helmet on that has 2 cannons on its head.
Yeah. They have the llama marks so you know which one it came from.
But no, I was gonna say, I think they've done really cool things with fire, like fire and bugs. Centiskorch is one of my favorite bug types. Larvesta and Volcarona is one of my favorite fire types.
Icons.
Wait.
Favorites.
Icon living. Favorite Pokemon?
Yeah, favorite Pokemon.
My favorite Pokemon, according to the sheet I filled out in Discord, or that we saved in
Didn't you already say it's Pikachu?
Yeah, it's Pikachu.
Pikachu's not my all-time favorite.
What would you say is your all-time favorite?
My all-time favorite.
While he's looking for his...
It changes. I feel like I have to go Mimikyu these days.
Mimikyu is like your mascot.
So for those of you who don't know, Mimikyu is a Pokemon.
Man, I wish I knew.
Which is probably everyone
brought some of my plushies.
Which is probably everyone watching this video. But Mimikyu is a Pokemon that was introduced in the 7th generation. We're on 9 now, for those curious. But in the 7th generation. And it's a ghost and fairy type Pokemon. And basically what it is, it's this little, like, ghost creature that wants to be friends with everybody, but it's really scared about how it looks and scaring people. So it creates this little, like, puppet thing that it lives inside of. Because it wants to be friends, but it's scared, and I think it's the most adorable thing. And it makes the puppet look like a Pikachu because it knows that everybody loves Pikachu and it just wants to be loved, and I think it's the cutest thing in the world. It's sad, it's adorable, and I love Mimikyu.
So my favorite Pokemon that I listed on this thing is none other than Volcarona.
Yeah, I could see that for you.
That's a giant fire moth.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It was honestly a great design because it's supposed to like look like a sun or whatever.
And that came Gen 4, right?
5. Yeah. Because you got it from an egg in the desert after you beat the game.
Yeah.
Gen 5 was a really cool generation. Like, it gets a lot of crap.
I don't remember it at all, though. I think that's why I don't hold it in high regard. Like, I feel like that's the first gen where I kind of stopped caring, but being like fully pulled in.
Sure.
I think Gen 5 gets a lot of crap because it had some of those Pokemon designs, like the garbage Pokemon and the ice cream Pokemon, and those are the ones that people latch onto, like, oh, Gen 5 designs suck. And to be fair, a lot of the designs are kind of just reimaginations of Gen 1 Pokemon.
Sure.
Right? Because you have, like, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan in the first one, which are the quintessential fighting, and then you have Sock and Throw, which look exactly the same, just, like, a little different. And then you have, like...
Ernie and Bert.
Yeah, I mean...
Bert and Ernie is Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you had, like, the Poliwag, Poliwhirl, Poliwrath in the first gen, and then you had the... Tadpole, the other one. And it's, like, the same kind of thing.
And then Conkeldurr and Machamp.
So there was a lot of similarities, and I think that's fair that it's like a little disappointing that there's a lot of similarities, but I think there's a lot of really cool Pokemon. Like, my favorite electric Pokemon is Galvantula, which is an electric spider. The preform is Jolteik, and it's this cute little electric spider.
Like Anthony also came from that one. I thought that was a really cool bug Pokemon.
I like Sawsbuck. It's a grass, normal, like, deer Pokemon that I think is cool.
Chandelure came out in that one. That's a cool, even though it's just a chandelier.
That was the fourth one, isn't it?
No, that's 5.
Was that 5?
I'm reading my row for 5, so I don't get it wrong, okay?
I just know it's 5.
Okay.
But so I think Gen 5 got a lot of flack, and I know a lot of people nowadays really like Gen 5 because I think a lot of kids these days on the internet, that was their first Pokemon game, was 5th Gen, which is black and white for those of you interested. But I think there was a lot of cool designs. I think the games were pretty cool. The region was alright.
Because it's supposed to be.
But I think also
it's based on the U.S.
I feel like one of the big things also is like your legendaries have to be kind of impactful and memorable.
Yeah.
And Reshiram and Zekrom, which I almost forgot their names, were not the most memorable.
They were.
No,
Drag
but Kyurem though.
Kyurem, it was like also not the most memorable.
Yeah, but then it fused with the black and white one.
Yeah,
that was a weird
cool.
type. I still wish, because that was the first generation where they kind of messed with their like flow of doing, you know, the base games and then the half step game and then the base games, because normally it's like, you know, red, blue, green, yellow, gold, silver, crystal, ruby, sapphire, emerald, and then this one they did
platinum,
diamond, pearl, platinum, and this one they did black, white, and then black 2, white 2.
Nobody
and I
liked it.
still think it should have been black, white, gray, because Kyurem was gray, and that, like, it just made sense, and I don't understand why they did this two separate thing. That was
for
just
money.
Because then in the next generation you had X and Y, which I really like X and Y. I think those games are fantastic. I think there's a lot of really cool Pokemon. I think a lot of people look over it because they were kind of disappointed by Black 2, White 2, and it never got its Z.
Did X and Y have the one with Bouffalant?
That was 5 as well. That was Black and White.
I love Bouffalant.
Yeah, 6 had Go-Goat,
Go.
Oh yeah.
which is amazing, and it also had that rock and dragon dinosaur.
Oh, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, yeah.
Tyrannosaurus.
I like the fossils, yeah.
I love the dinosaur.
It was a T-Rex and a Brontosaurus, like classics.
Classic time.
And 6 also had all the megas, which were pretty cool.
In terms of gimmicks, which they started doing in 6, Mega Evolutions was by far my favorite.
Yeah,
it was so cool, and I wish they did more. And when they remade Diamond and Pearl a couple years ago, or last year or whatever it was, I was really hoping that they would bring Mega Evolutions back.
Sadly, they
and
won't.
they didn't, and it was very disappointing because I think Mega Evolutions is a really cool gimmick and it's really fun. You giving it to some Pokemon that aren't that good to make it a little bit better. Like
it also just made a lot of Pokemon just like look cooler.
It did, yeah.
Or like things like, what is it? Gyarados finally got the dragon typing.
No,
it didn't. Who finally got the... Oh, Charizard finally got the dragon typing it deserved.
Yeah.
He got his 2 typings, 2 Mega Evolutions. And Mewtwo.
Mewtwo got 2 Mega Evolutions, it's cool. Yeah. But Mega Evolution were really cool, and I agree. Like, I think a lot of design... the designs for the Megas were so cool.
I just like that everybody has always thought of Gyarados as a dragon. They even gave Lance a Gyarados. And then they're like, we have this Mega thing. Let's make it dark.
That still makes no sense to me, and why it's like a flying lobster thing. Like, it's really weird looking.
It took like Sharpedo's place.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
They added similar design to that. Do you know you can? There's which one was it? It's one of the games. It's probably one of the newer ones where you can actually evolve your Magikarp at any level by just making it go up a waterfall.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Because Magikarp is based off of like this
the
whole
Chinese folklore.
the folklore of it going up and then becoming this magical beast thing.
Yeah, so the legend is that there's a bunch of like carp that were swimming in a stream or whatever, and if they were able to get to the top of this massive waterfall and prove their worth, they would get to turn into a dragon.
So can you teach Magikarp waterfall?
No.
Oh.
No. You can once it ascends the waterfall.
So you have to take another Pokemon to take it up a waterfall?
I don't know.
That's actually awesome.
I just know that
that is pretty cool though.
It is really cool.
That sounds like something they do in Pokemon Go.
Probably.
If you go up a real life waterfall,
you can finally evolve this one Pokemon
instead of getting 400k. But okay. So any other like favorites that you have? That you
I always really like Arcanine. It's a cool fire dog.
Wasn't Arcanine considered like under its discretion the legendary Pokemon?
Yeah, it's called like the legendary Pokemon.
Yeah. Which honestly, every time I saw it, like in the Pokemon anime with Gary had it, I'm like, that's so cool. You can ride it.
I would love nothing more than to ride an Arcanine into
It'd be
battle.
so cool.
Like, oh, that would be so cool.
He's the most ferocious thing in the world, but at the same time,
But
like,
he's
he
a
wants,
big doggo. He's a big doggo.
he just wants the pets, and you know what? He deserves it.
Yeah. I really like Arcanine.
So you said Mimikyu was your favorite one.
Mimikyu and Arcanine, I would say.
Volcarona.
Volcarona was yours. For me, I say Umbreon.
Umbreon's up there for
I
me.
love Umbreon.
I've always liked dark types since
too.
they came out in second gen, even though there was really just Umbreon.
See,
it was Umbreon and Murkrow.
Murkrow, that's right. And I'm so glad that they've gotten more appreciation over time.
I don't even have Umbreon as my favorite dark type from Johto.
It's okay.
You put Murkrow?
No, I put Tyranitar.
That's fair.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
That's fair.
But I just a little side tangent. There was this one time where I was like looking up like, oh, you know, what your favorite type says about you as a person or whatever.
I looked this up. I told you.
It was you. Yeah. Okay. And when we got to the dark types, it's like, if you love dark types, then you love Umbreon, and that is your whole personality. I'm like, I have never been so called out in my goddamn life.
I like a lot of dark types, and that's what I liked about Generation 6, X and Y specifically, is there's a lot of cool dark types. Like Bisharp was dark and steel.
What would you say is your favorite type? Is it dark? Because
I go back and forth between dark and fire.
Says Houndoom your favorite Pokemon?
No, I just said Mimikyu, which is neither dark nor fire.
Yeah, it is the...
So you're going to be the dark gym leader with random Mimikyu?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, of course. But
I just want everyone to be gothy. I'll have like the emo haircut.
Okay,
I don't play by your daddy's rules.
I do like the goth style in life also.
Yeah.
I can never
goth at heart.
figure out what my favorite type is, though I feel like it's probably electric.
Yeah, dark and fire have been there for me, and then ice is like... I like ice a lot. It's just not the best type in the games. Like, it's not resistant to anything.
It's only good on ground
It's good on ground, flying, grass, and dragon, but it's like a lot of times
it's niche.
Those types have secondary types that kind of cancel out. So it's like it's not really good. But I like ice Pokemon too.
That's true. I would say mine's is probably dark type. Dark type is like just the ongoing.
What's your second favorite type?
Second favorite, I'd probably give it to Psychic.
I'd probably give mine to
Electric.
That's my first favorite.
Oh, what's your second?
I don't know. I kind of want to lean to Bug. I feel like there's a lot of cool Bug Pokemon.
There are.
Like
no Bug Dragon.
There is no Bug Dragon.
Like there's
We
Scyther and Scizor and Vespiquen.
Really cool.
Scissor is
I love
Centiskorch, Volcarona. Like those are all such cool Pokemon.
Yeah, they are.
Galvantula.
Galvantula.
My favorite electric type.
But
and my favorite bug.
So if you could have a team of 6 Pokemon, what would your team be? We also did this on our thing.
I know. I don't know if I want my team that I did when we did.
So here, I'll start with my team while you guys look it up.
Yeah, I'll look up
So,
my favorite team.
My first Pokemon is Volcarona.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
He's got the bug and fire.
Right.
Second Pokemon I have is Starmie. I love Starmie. Star is kind of like my symbol. For a lot of things, just because of the gamer tag that I've used. And Starmies are just cool. I mean,
Starmie's cool. Starmie's good.
And Water Psychic.
Right.
Roserade is my third.
Roserade's cool.
Grass Poison, so I got a lot of type coverage.
You really like the fast special attackers.
Did I ever tell you that Roserade is like my first shiny that I ever got?
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
Can we talk about first shinies later?
Yeah, we'll look into it.
So, my fourth Pokemon is the Tyrantum.
Yeah.
Rock and Dragon. He's just so cool. I love Tyrannosaurus Rex. He's my favorite dinosaur.
Same thing.
Both, yeah. I feel you.
And I think he has a really cool design. It's like Rampardos made dragon, and he has a cool like color scheme too. So
I always thought Rampardos was really weird, and the fact that it's
weird.
pure rock is kind of strange to me.
Yeah.
I did put a Pikachu in my party. I debated Pikachu or like Raichu because Raichu has better stats, but I'm like Pikachu feels more in my soul.
Yeah.
And then to round it out, I think I was mostly just looking for type coverage, so I chose
You would.
I chose Tinkatuff, for Fairy and Steel.
I love Tinka.
Tinka
You
Tuff,
guys know when we
is
played.
a solid
That
design.
was one of my favorites. So
He's
Tinka
got the
Tuff
biggest hammer.
is a new Pokemon in the newest games, and it's this little pink gremlin thing that has a giant freaking hammer that just smashes things with its hammer.
So I think out of my
I named mine Tiny Tink.
I think out of my 6 Pokemon, I cover 5 regions.
Yeah, that's
Volcarona, Roserade, that's 5-4. Starmie and Pikachu is 1.
Yeah.
Tinka Tuff is 9, and Tyrantrum is 7 or 8?
6.
6?
Yeah. X and Y.
6.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's good coverage.
Yeah. And I cover 11 types.
It's a lot of times, yeah.
It's a nice variety.
Do
They
you
don't
want-
have the same.
Do you want to go next? Or you want me?
Yeah, I got mine. So, for my Pokemon team, I put for Porygon Z, because Porygon Z, whoever designed that knew what they were doing. Like, it is such, like, a, little glitch in the Matrix kind of program.
Pokemon on the screen.
I know.
A
It's
little...
gonna be a lot of work for me.
It's okay, I'll just send you the picture.
It's okay, we can put this one last in the fight.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So yeah, there's a little glitch Pokemon. The way they design it, just wonderful. It's also my favorite normal type, which is also weird that it's just a normal type.
It is weird, but at the same time, when I think about it, and think about it from like the Pokemon designing perspective, what else type would it be? It's literally a glitch in it's a computer glitch.
Yeah, it is.
Like that's not. I would think psychic, but that's not really psychic. I would think steel, but it's not really
But
steel.
electric.
It could be.
But that's
electric.
also why it has things like Tri-Attack and
Zap
Yeah.
cannon.
stuff like
No
that.
Zap
Yeah.
cannon.
It's a very...
It's very diverse. It's one of my favorite Pokemon
It's a
of all
cool
time.
Side note, my favorite normal Pokemon is Snorlax.
That's
That's
I
fair.
love him.
I mean, that's fair.
Bidoof.
I want...
With Doof Squad.
I want my own Snorlax. He will be my bed and I will just fall asleep.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to feed him like half a forest's worth of food a day.
It's true. And he
No,
poops
he just
a lot.
sleeps most of the
No,
time.
he sleeps and eats.
He sleeps while he eats.
It's also true.
Yeah.
Also, when does he poop? Where
Probably
does
when
he
he's
poop?
sleeping.
Sometime in
wherever he's
between.
lying.
Anyway, before we get too far into the Snorlax
Poop.
conundrum, then afterwards I would put Volcarona. So Volcarona, solid Pokemon. We all agree with
I
that.
agree with that.
I forget his name. It's this one right here. Toxicity.
Oh,
Toxic Croak or some shit.
No.
Whatever the fuck that one is.
Toxicity.
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 Something like that.
They came out on that in like Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield Gen 8.
Wait, did you skip this one?
Yes. For
Okay,
good
I
reason.
see,
For
I
good
see.
reason. And they brought him out in like the one of the newer ones, and the idea that he's like this rocker, electric poison Pokemon, it just hit hard. Like,
It's like
that's the one.
It's like a frog, like a poison frog that rocks your soul with its electric guitar on its chest.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It was
It's
such
a
a
poison
cool
frog who went to too many metal concerts.
Yeah, it was
It's
such a
awesome.
cool design.
It is a really cool design.
He
Yeah,
has
I-
3 stages, right? of
No,
design?
he only has
No, it
two.
has two,
but he has
there's
two
two
variants.
different variants of
Okay.
the left.
Yeah, depending on his nature.
Also, poison electric is a cool combo.
It is a cool
like,
one. It's so
But
unique.
it's so weak to ground.
It's
It is.
it's not the best in terms of type coverage, but,
But
it's
it is
really
an
cool.
awesome design.
It is. I
It
agree.
like
And the
immediately
color
stole
scheme
my
of like
heart.
Oh,
purple, yellow.
Yeah,
and
classic color scheme.
Yeah. It stole my heart immediately. Like that guy, he immediately put him on my team. His name's Steve.
I love how I name my things super silly things like
I
Tiny
also
King
name my
and
things.
the Big Snooze, and your
The Big
Pokemon
Snooze.
are like Kevin,
Kevin. Jeff from accounting.
Like I
It's
try
true.
so hard to come up with silly names, and
I
you're
always
just
have,
like,
like,
oh yeah, this is Greg.
Yeah.
Blaze and Sparky and
That's just my name.
this guy has Steve.
Because there's,
No, I mean,
there's
I
nothing
respect it.
funnier. But then after that, I would have Torterra because like
Torterra's good.
Touche is good.
they get to Gen 3, 4?
4.
It was 4. Diamond and Pearl. And none of the. I don't want a monkey. I don't want a penguin. I don't want this goddamn turtle. And then I evolved it, and it grew a tree on its back, and you're like, oh my god.
The turtle became a continent.
Yeah.
I really
and it
like
became
all
so
of those
cool.
starters, honestly. Like,
They're really good, but Torterra was the best of them all.
Infinite was
Tortwig.
the worst.
Yeah, sadly.
mm,
To me.
it was a little derivative.
It's Blaziken but monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been done.
It had been done.
That's why I hate Embor, because it's the third fire fighting in a row, and it's just a stupid pig.
But I love Embor.
No.
It is overdone. And then after that...
But he looks so cool.
And
He
no,
looks
doesn't.
okay.
He's round.
He looks okay.
Yeah.
He looks okay. His design is not better than Infernape or Blaziken.
No, but he could beat them up.
No, he can't. He's too slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they try to punch him and he's just no. Like that thing you showed me yesterday.
Oh, it was this morning.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It all blurs together.
Anyways, and then after Torterra, I chose Togekiss.
Also a good Pokemon.
Because Togekiss, like, he becomes a jet plane.
It looks so weird, though.
It does.
It's very rotund.
It's just
but I
a
love
blob
it.
with giant wings.
It becomes an egg, and then it becomes an angel, and then the angel becomes a plane.
Yeah.
Which is very funny.
Which is classic evolution.
Classic evolution. Which is so great. I used to
If
have
it had
that on
guns,
my
it'd be
team.
very Digimon.
Yeah, it would be. I used to have it on my team all the time. It had like that special move that makes it crit higher than normal or whatever. I forget what it was called. I put Wind Slash on that. Or no, it wasn't crit higher. It would cause the effect to happen more often than that. I forget what the...
Oh, the ability it had?
Yeah. So I would give it like Wind Slash or whatever, whichever the flying type move is that causes flinch. And I just constantly just
Air
flinched
slash,
it.
yeah.
Air Slash, yeah. And flinch. And then for the last person on my team, the MVP, the one who will bring the team all together,
Sunkern?
Spheal.
Oh, yeah.
I love Spheal.
I wish it was a Sunkern.
I wish it was Sunkern.
You guys both. So,
The mascot of your team is Spheal,
yeah.
and mine's Pikachu.
Alright, well, mine is Mimikyu, of course.
Of course.
You need it. And then I'm going to go Arcanine. Classic, strong, good Pokemon.
Good boy.
Good boy. I'm going to go Galvantula for electric blood coverage, and because I think it's cool. And then I'm going to go Flygon. I love Flygon.
Flygon's solid.
Ground and Dragon. It's like a dragonfly. It's really cool. I love it. And then I'm going to go, I'm kind of changing it around from the list I made. I'm probably honestly going to go Gardevoir. Fairy and Psychic is a very strong combination, and if I ever find Mega Stones on my journey, I can get a Mega Gardevoir.
Which looks pretty cool.
Which does look pretty cool. And then I'm going to go with, there's a lot of options that I kind of want to go with for the last one.
Don't you have two more?
Mimikyu, Arcanine, Galvantula, Gardevoir, Flygon.
Oh,
I have one more. But I'm probably gonna go. There's so many options. But for the sake of like good coverage, I'm gonna go with the Hisuian Samurai, which is water and dark type, and it's pretty cool.
Okay, yeah.
Is Samurai regularly just water?
Yeah.
Yeah, just water.
I actually really like the Hisuian form. So they came out with a game a couple years ago called Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool concept, and I really hope they do more. Basically, they made a game that takes place in a far distant past. So it takes place in the Sinnoh region, which is what the Gen 4 Diamond, Pearl, Platinum games are. But like thousands of years ago, so in the distant past.
It just looks like they darkened the blue.
And then kind of like a little jaggedy, but it's I think it's pretty cool. I liked it. I think that was the one I started with, and I really liked it. But it was really cool because it's a different region. Like you see what this region looks like, before we see it before, which I think is cool. And then there are different regional variants from the past that aren't present in the future.
I do not like that Growlithe.
Oh, it's rock and fire. And so they did a lot of cool things, and they made a region for Typhlosion, which is fire and ghosts.
Yeah,
It's fire and ghosts. It's really
he's
cool.
a sad boy. But he has like a whole veil
of like ghostly purple fire. Like it's cool.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, it doesn't show on that. That's why I wanted to tell you. But like, it actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like he needs something because he just.
I really that game, like talking about games, such a cool game. It was like pseudo open world. Like there are places you can go to, but like once you go to that place, like it's a big map for you to explore.
There's a Gootra and it's Steel and Dragon.
It is Steel
which is
and
a
Dragon.
good coverage.
It steals my Dialga's.
Yeah, it does.
Uniqueness.
It's not unique anymore. But yeah, it is cool. It's a really great game. I hope they do more Pokemon Legends games.
I hope it goes on sale.
It's not going to. Ever.
It will eventually. Put it on your wish list.
I wonder if I can go to GameStop and if they have like a used.
They probably do. Yeah. You should do that.
Like, do people return stuff anymore?
Yeah. all the time.
Probably. But yeah, so that's my team. Mimikyu's my mascot.
Yeah.
Spheel's mine.
Pikachu.
But Spiel is still a round little boy.
He is a round little boy.
One of the.
You gave him a Spheal.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
I did.
for my birthday or for like something, I forget what.
I think it was your birthday.
Might have been Christmas.
Might have been a holiday of sorts
In the
and
fall.
or birthday. He got me a Spiel and it was like the greatest thing in the world.
Little round plushy Spheal.
Because it was only. I don't like Pokemon Go. It's not my thing. But we had a Pokemon Go day, and
We played Go Fest with him.
for
his
whole
first
time.
experience.
It was not
playing
the best
Pokemon.
introduction.
No, it
because-
wasn't.
So Go Fest is like this annual big event in Pokemon Go and in the Pokemon Go community where pretty much like there's in-game stuff happening all day, like big events, new Pokemon, whatever, stuff to do. And that was what we introduced Josh to, and we were out for like 6 hours.
Yeah, and it was too much. Not the greatest
And-
first time experience.
And to be fair, we didn't like how they had structured the event.
It wasn't like they
particular
did how they
year.
did it during Go Fest before, which was a lot more fun.
Yeah, they kind of changed the structure of it last year, so it wasn't the best. And Josh had a rough time. It was
Yeah.
long. It was a long day.
It was a long day for me.
But he did find his feel.
But I got a Spiel, and I just had him just follow me around everywhere, and I was like, Spiel.
Yeah.
And love that guy.
He had a great time. So I think it was for your birthday because that would have been pretty close to after Go
It
Fest.
would've
Sounds
been
about right,
August.
yeah.
I got him a feel stuffed
Yeah.
animal to make him feel a little better.
Yeah, and it's adorable, and he's like right there on my little patio thing. This
Shelves?
shell, thank you. Well, patio.
I am like patio. That's
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, it is
We don't
outside.
do outside.
No, not.
I wanted to.
no.
I was looking through these sales on Amazon, and
I'm
one of
sure
them
you
was
were.
for like this big like umbrella thing that goes outside, you know, like mom and dad's,
Yeah.
and it was like 90% off. So I was like, "Ooh, it's so cheap," and I said
I
to him,
responded.
"He's like, we don't go outside."
Yeah. Which is a valid
And
statement.
I can totally see you guys like buying a bunch of outdoor furniture to be like, well, if we had stuff, we would go outside, and then
Then
never
never.
using it.
That's
ever.
100% true.
Not ever
That's why I'm
going
stopping
outside.
before we get to that point.
Yeah, that's 100% what would happen. I would bet on
Yeah.
it.
But yeah.
Anyway, Pokemon, right?
Yeah, Pokemon and how it
Yeah,
works.
I love Pokemon. I could talk about Pokemon all day.
So-
It's one of those things that like has been a part of my life for pretty much as long as I can remember.
Same.
And I've always, like, I know a lot of people don't like the new games. I have my quarrels with it here and there, but just the essence of Pokemon is something that has always resonated with me. Like
Well, because it's
it's
a
just an
simple, fun
adventure.
game.
It's
yeah.
just go out, explore this world, like learn what these new cool creatures are, like battle people, go do gyms. It's just about exploring and having fun, and that resonates with me so much. If that's what my life could be, I would be 100%.
We need
for
that
it.
Pokemon MMO.
And like, oh man, I would love that. And like during the
we do have Pokemon MMO.
during the
Not
pandemic,
like a official one.
Not an official one. You're right.
The closest thing we got is Pokemon Go.
No, there's an actual like you can have like play online with other people, and you like play a specific game, so like Pokemon Black or White or whatever. And when you start off, there's a bunch of other people who are also starting off with you, so you can like literally just go about doing the gyms like you normally do, like in Black and White. But you could just look at someone and be like, "Want to battle?"
that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Played it for a little bit, lost immediately.
Yeah, that's why I don't like
Competitive.
multiplayer competitive stuff.
That's fair.
That's not me. That's also what I like. Is it's casual and it's fun, and
It's both,
yeah, it
and
can be
it- and
because
it-
you
and it
can't be
doesn't-
super competitive.
and it does it so well.
But you can also be a filthy casual.
Okay, well that's unuseful language right there.
That's rude.
But
as
like,
someone would say.
like that was cool about like because doing the cooperative stuff, like the Battle Tower or Battle Frontier and stuff was always so fun that Ian and I would do when we would play together. and it
Did
was
Battle Tower actually have like the cooperative play?
It did in
it did.
Emerald.
Did it?
And in Crystal, if you had a link cable, you could do the Battle Tower together.
Did it? I
Yeah.
feel like that's a weird fever dream that you guys both
No, it 100% did.
Is this a Mandela effect?
We
It
would
might be.
we would do it all the time. Emerald version, especially when the Battle Frontier came out. I remember like we would sit in the attic sometimes with the
Wow.
thing open because there was a nice breeze if we had the door open and then the stairs and we would
Sure.
sit up there. Huh?
Okay.
It didn't happen.
That did happen.
We never sat in the attic and
We
played Pokemon.
100% did.
Listen, you guys also didn't play Battle Tower at the same time together.
Yes, we did with the
No.
link cable.
I'm pretty sure it's a Mandela effect.
No, it 100% happened.
Go on.
I don't remember what I was saying now. You guys both interrupted me so many times in that sentence. I don't know, but I like Pokemon games, and during the pandemic, like, it was a rough time for me, as it was for many other people, and Pokemon Sword was one of the things that got me through
These
that
people
time.
on Reddit also believe that they co-opted Emerald.
Okay, that's Reddit.
It's not a belief, it's a fact. It happened, you could do it.
It's Reddit, though. Like, that's someone else who also thinks that may have happened. It could have.
It's not a belief.
I've never done that. Granted.
Just because you haven't done it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
No, I agree. But, like, from like, whatever, after Diamond and Pearl, like, it doesn't seem like there's anything more to that.
Because they didn't do it. They didn't continue having that feature, but that doesn't mean it didn't exist.
This
prior.
mode can be either used alone or when linked to another copy when another player contributes their Pokemon. It's in the official wiki.
Okay, that's what I was hoping for. Okay.
Loser.
Yeah, I didn't have friends who played with me.
I didn't either. I had this fool.
You had
Yeah,
a brother.
He didn't play Diamond and Pearl.
Emerald.
We
He
did it
didn't
with
play Emerald either.
We did it with Emerald.
He stopped at Gold. And Gold, we were like, what, 10 years old or whatever?
Gold didn't have it. Crystal was the first one that had the battle tower.
Yeah, like, no, my brothers did not play it after Gold.
Well,
I kept going.
Your brothers are lame.
Looks like camera, looks like other camera. But yeah.
Anyway, I like Pokemon a lot, and I don't care. A lot of people are like, oh, you still like Pokemon? Yeah, I do. I love Pokemon, and I want to keep playing the games as long as it makes me happy.
Same.
So,
I mean, too, I just wish that they can add features to make it, like, more old school style, or, like, it's a little bit, like, more difficult.
that is a thing. Like, I see people being like, I've seen this, like, on Instagram a lot, where people are like, oh, Pokemon games didn't used to be hard. You were just younger. Like, no, they were legitimately more difficult. Like, the first 4 generations especially were legitimately difficult because the rate at which your Pokemon leveled up, even if you fought all the trainers and stuff, was slower than the rate at which the trainers got stronger.
Yeah, there were a lot of games I genuinely had to grind before each gym. And I would be like, okay, I'm going to get all my Pokemon to, like, 45, because her Pokemon are, like, 43 to 47, so 45 is like a good area.
And it would be hard because you wouldn't get a lot of experience from beating wild Pokemon, and so it would take you forever. And
you didn't have the experience share.
Yeah, or you would have to find it, and
or
you would only give it.
Oh yeah, you just have the one.
You had to give it to a specific Pokemon, and so that one Pokemon would get half the experience that your Pokemon that you used was. But it was not a fast way to do anything, and it was really hard. And I remember, like a few years ago, I replayed Emerald, and it was the same thing. It was hard. I went to the Elite Four, and I literally was 10 levels underneath, and I'm like, I don't want to grind it, so I brute forced it.
I feel like that happened to you in like the Diamond and Pearl remake too.
It did too, yeah. I was under leveled because I'm like, I don't want to grind. I hate grinding. I'm just gonna brute force it. And when I did the Diamond and Pearl remake, Cynthia kicked my ass again. Because I didn't have a fairy type to beat all of her Pokemon, because now fairy exists, which kind of makes Cynthia a little weaker, which is unfortunate. Because she was so cool, and she was like the hardest boss.
Also, banger music.
Banger music, Killer Team, Lucario, Spiritomb, Roserade, Garchomp. Like, she had such a cool team, and she was so difficult to beat. But then now fairy exists, and half her team doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like Spiritomb.
Yeah, like Spiritomb, Garchomp is weak to it. I mean, Roserade and Lucario are still good against fairy, but, you know, she's a little weaker. But she was so cool, and yeah, she kicked my butt again, and it took me like 4 tries. And that was cool, that was fun. So, like, the games were actually harder. And I understand them wanting to eliminate the grinding from it, because a lot of people don't like that.
And that's fair.
But I think some games went too far, where now you could just walk from gym to gym and you're gonna be over level.
Yeah, and that was the issue, because wasn't there like a Pokemon game before, like Diamond and Pearl, because that's the only one I can think of, where like they gave you the option to like turn off experience share?
That was the X and Y. You
Y.
had the experience share, but you could turn it off whenever you wanted.
Because it was like a key item that you could...
Yeah, and
which is beautiful.
Yes, that is a good way to do it. Because then if you want it, you can have it. If you turn it off, but then you realize like, oh, I'm getting a little lower, like you can just turn it back on and it's fine.
Yeah, if you feel you need to grind, you can do it without like 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Time
Which is a great option. And I wish that they would do that more. Gave us the option to be like, hey, you can make your Pokemon experience the more modern way, where it's like everything's kind of like streamlined and makes it so it's easier to go about doing things. Or you can do it like the old-fashioned way, where like everything's kind of a grind, but that's just the fun.
I do want to give a shout out to my favorite newer features that they've had in Pokemon.
Yeah.
Which is the rating for Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, Sword and Shield did it a little better.
Sword and Shield I like better.
Yeah.
I mean, they're mostly similar, but
They're very different.
No, I'll agree with you on this one. They're mostly similar. The biggest factor would be like there's no turns. It's like everyone goes at once.
Well,
Yeah.
because
the sync of the internet is worse.
Yeah.
And that's because you don't have turns. It's kind of like you just go. I think there are turns, but it's not as explicit.
That's what I was
I think
gonna
it's
say.
implicit.
That's what I was gonna say is there are still turns because there's a lot of times where it doesn't let you do anything because it's like connecting
it's
and
picking up.
It's catching up because there are still turns. They're just not as like defined is the word I was looking for. They're not as defined, which then makes it kind of pointless to me because I'm like, because then it's just like random, and then you wait, and then it's just random, and whereas opposed to in Sword and Shield where there were still defined turns, it was easier to understand, and there wasn't so much lag because it wasn't trying to do the pseudo.
I do prefer the shield mechanic though, and terrestrializing as compared to the shield mechanic with Dynamaxing in Sword and Shield, just because you kind of had to use your Dynamax Pokemon to break the shield because it would do 2 shields at once, or you just get 1 at a time, and that made it so hard where it's like, oh, you need to get to the shield without the Dynamax Pokemon so that hopefully you could get your Dynamax Pokemon to break it, so you needed somebody faster who did a lot of damage, and like it was a lot more, I feel like, methodical, because it made the higher raids really hard because there'd be like 2 shield stages, and if it's just us two with 2 NPCs, it's like impossible because they're stupid.
They did make the NPCs better in Scarlet and Violet. They're less
sometimes they would come out with like what, a Magikarp,
literally a Magikarp. Might as well.
A Sunkern.
Yeah. My Magikarp.
And then and in that game, every time the NPC died, it affected your timer. Whereas now, if the NPC died, it doesn't matter.
You only had 4 revives for the whole team.
Yeah.
So every time the NPC died, it would eat away at your lives.
So I do think in some ways it got better because the NPCs aren't as punishing. Like if you don't have friends, you can be okay.
Yeah. What I wish they did with terrestrialization and what they did with like the Dynamax one, I wish they changed the designs on certain ones. Like
I really don't like that they just put a stupid hat on.
Yeah.
And there's
nothing extra to it. I love the Dynamax Snorlax who's literally just sleeping and he has like a whole ecosystem to him now. It's so good.
It does look really cool.
It's so nice. I love that.
I did like some of the designs for Dynamax.
That's nice.
You're welcome, Siri. I did like some of the designs, but to me, again, it's like, but you could have done that with Mega too, and like I like the Mega mechanic better than the Dynamax mechanic.
Yeah, but like if we're like moving forward, we're like still like hindering like on like a similar idea because that's pretty similar.
Except Dynamax only lasts 3 turns, whereas Mega is the whole battle.
Yeah, but like I just wish that they had fun with designs when they were terrestrializing and
because I really like that idea of like, oh, the Pokemon crystallizes and you can change its type to something totally different. I think that's cool, and I think that opens the door to a lot more dynamic gameplay.
It just looks a little silly.
It just looks silly.
Although when we played last weekend, favorite thing ever, fighting Magikarp, because it is on its side flopping and the little fist is just like this, kind of like a thumbs up. He's like, I'm okay.
Yeah. But I do like terrestrializing as a concept. I just think it looks kind of goofy.
Yeah, I wish they put a little bit more. Because like in the trailer, the terrestrialized new legendary Pokemon that looks like it just has a mask, it looks so good.
Like the crystal mask, that looks cool.
But because terrestrializing, it was kind of like a one-size-fits-all where it's like, oh, if you become this type, you're going to be slightly tinted this color with the same thing. The reason that Mega and Dynamax was so specific to specific Pokemon is because they didn't have time to do it for everybody, and I think they just wanted terrestrializing to be more of a universal thing instead of like.
Cool,
but that's what they did with the Gigantamax or whatever too.
Yeah.
Everyone had just their state form, just bigger, which is fine.
But then some of them had the much cooler forms.
Which I wish they could do with terrestrialization.
But I feel like they made a lot. It made a lot of people want to go for those Pokemon over others because they did have special forms. And if you didn't get one with the special form, like Dreadnought, I really like the Dreadnought Dynamax form, but I could never find one that had like the.
Well, they did incorporate a feature into the first DLC, the Isle of Armor, where you could turn Pokemon that didn't normally Gigantamax and give them the Gigantamax one. So if you didn't have one that could turn into the special form, you could just like you find some mushrooms, you make a soup, and then you give it. Yeah,
it's just annoying because I mean I didn't play a ton after the expansions, even though I bought them.
Yeah.
And I did really like the battle raid.
Oh, the Dynamax Adventures? I was going to bring that up. I think that was better than just the regular Dynamax raids. I thought that was a really cool system.
I feel
legendary at the end of it too.
Yeah, it is really cool.
But I feel like because some of them had cooler special forms, it kind of made other ones kind of go to the wayside. And I think with terrestrialization, they're just like, it's available for everybody, just enjoy it, whatever.
Which I'm totally for. Again, I think what we're both saying is that the hats are just stupid. And we just wish that they'd put a little more effort into the overall design.
Well, I feel like they just tried to make it clear, like, you know, this one is this type and this one is this type. And
I wish they made slight variants depending on who was terrestrializing. Like if an electric type was terrestrializing into like a fighting type, like the fist would like change into like a sparky. It could just have like the glove whatever and just has like a little lightning mark on it.
But I think the thing is it's not that type anymore, it's pure fighting.
I understand that, but I just wanted to have a slight variance, like okay, it was electric type and now it's a fighting type and here's the little mark
but
showing.
Like as you know, readability from a user standpoint or whatever.
Yeah, you would think lightning.
You would think, oh, now it's an electric fighting, but it's not. And
I get you.
I think that's why they didn't do that. Is they're like, no, we wanted to note that you're only this type now.
I just
and
think
you could
the hats could have looked better, or they could have done something different than hats and done like, I don't know, some other design.
They become Digimons and just grow a bunch of armor and a gun.
No, I would have vetoed that too. But I hope that they continue with. One thing I love about Pokemon is that it does continue to try to innovate. And not everything is a success, but they're trying different things.
And they're learning from their failures and successes.
Yeah, it's not just the same thing over and over and over again. They do add new mechanics and they add new features and new types of gameplay. Like the new ones are open world. And as we've talked about, we have some quarrels with the way it's been done, and they could do a better leveling system as you progress, a better progression system. But I'm so glad that they're trying new things. It's not the same game it was 20 years ago.
I mean, I haven't played Legends Arceus yet, but I really like the ability in Scarlet and Violet to kind of go do whatever you want. Like, it gives you 3 main mission lines, and it's like, go do these things, kind of explore the world. Go left for gyms, go right for the Legend Pokemon thing.
I just wish that it was a better level.
But I wish it was had like a dynamic leveling system where it's like once you entered this area, it kind of like I wish, because I think there were like 18 or 19 different things to beat, whether it was like the Legend Pokemon, the gyms, or the team people. And it was kind of like once you entered the area, like a gym or the area of the Legend Pokemon or the base of the Team Star base, that it would kind of like pick an order and then like, you know, 1, 2, 3, and whatever order you visited them in, then they would appropriately level. Just because if you did the whole gym path first, because you're like, oh, I want to play it like a regular Pokemon game, you're gonna go back and do everything else, and it's too easy.
Well, I kind of ended up not doing that, but I ended up doing like a few gyms first. I think I did like 3 gyms first, and then I found like the fire team base, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do that, and that one was like it was just a little stronger than where I was, so it was a bit of a challenge. I'm like, oh, this is cool, and I just happened to go in this way where like that's kind of how it was for the first few things I did. But then after that, I went a different direction, and everything was way weaker. And I'm like, oh,
or you find like one of the later bases, and they're like way too strong.
Yeah, and so then it's like, okay, well that
half the game then was too easy because I was already too strong for like 2 of the bases and like 3 of the gyms. I did these ones first, and then the rest of it just kind of became too easy because I did things in a way that I was challenged at first, and then I went back, and then it was too easy. So I wish it leveled as I leveled, and was a more dynamic system, because that would have been so much fun.
But I also feel like, because like, you know, in the regular games, you're kind of doing all those things intertwined, but there's a specific way of doing it.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish, you know, maybe there was like an ideal path through the game where it's like everything hits at the right level or whatever.
I hope someone makes like a modded version of like Scarlet and Violet where it becomes more difficult. Like the gym leaders' Pokemons are like all EV trained and whatever, and you gotta really think about how you're gonna go about doing each gym. Like, because even if you're,
it's a whole different level.
It is a whole different level
than what we're talking.
I'm adding on to.
Well, I think that would be, and I think that X or Black and White or Black 2 and White 2, I think they did have a difficulty setting where I think once you beat it, you could put it in challenge mode. And I think so. That might have been just for like the post game stuff that there was a challenge mode, but I remember there was a game that did have a challenge mode. I think that would be cool if that existed. Like, you can be like, I know how to play Pokemon, I want more of a challenge, I'm gonna put it on hard mode.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the Pokemon are stronger. The strategies that the computers use are much more.
They do things that actually make sense.
Yeah, and like as you go, gyms actually have full teams of Pokemon, because that's something that stopped happening. Is like the max you get is like you're fighting 4 Pokemon. It's like, well, even if I'm under leveled, it's still 6 versus 4.
Yeah, you
like,
can trade 1 for 1 4 times.
Force it, and then you can still win. And like that's not very. Even the Elite 4 sometimes has like 5 Pokemon. It's like, you have an extra slot. Throw something in there. Give me a challenge.
Even if it's a Mimikyu.
Yeah,
Where's Feel?
Especially if it's a Mimikyu. Because Mimikyu's actually pretty hard because it has the disguise ability, so your first shot doesn't do anything.
And Feel's just cute.
So, I agree. I want there to be more. I like games that are challenging, and I like open world. I love the Dark Souls games. This is a whole other topic, but like, I like games that are challenging. I like games that are open world, and I love that Pokemon is heading in that direction. And I hope we get to that point where it's what we want it to be.
Hopefully.
And then different levels too, because some people might like it being super easy and fun, and I love that too. I think that's great.
Before I'm getting more interrupted by this guy over here.
Oh my god.
Thank you for watching our podcast. There was a lot of rambling going on right now.
This is a I don't know how much of this you're all gonna see.
Yeah, it was a big
Pokemon
ramble fest.
Yeah.
But
this might be a bonus episode.
It might be. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for staying with us. For all you who have stayed with us.
Yeah.
You can find us in all sorts of medias. What are they, Ian?
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.
And more. Thank you.
Pretty much.
So, yeah. So thank you for watching. Next week we'll have a new King of the Bean. Hopefully, maybe it'll be Ryan. It
Maybe.
probably won't be.
Probably not.
But thank you for watching, and have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, turn it off.
All right. I gotta pee.